Hi, I'm your host, Rachel Dea, the perfect place to be if you want to grow and change your mindset into positive. If you have a minute, share us in your stories and tag me. I'd love to know how it helped you in your life journey. And now, let's just dive into the video. So for this week's episode, we are going to talk about why do people give up? So before we start, let me first ask you a question. What do you usually feel with your journey or anything that you are currently doing in life? Good morning. So based on my question just a few seconds ago, what I mean is, how do you react on your journey? How do you see your journey? What do you feel in your journey? And what can you say about your journey? Now, the journey that I'm talking about in this video is the thing that you are doing in your life, or the thing that you have in your life. Whether that's a business, a new hobby or skill that you want to learn, new recipe that you want to learn, your academics, your relationship, basically in every aspect of your life. Now let's break it down one by one so you can understand it more easily. For example, the journey of your business. How do you react on it? How do you see it? What can you feel about it and what can you say about it? Because most of us doesn't like having problems. Most of us doesn't like the long-term waiting, the failure, the roller coaster game. And that's the truth. Basically the ups and downs of your journey. What we commonly want is the results. If we rarely see the growth of it, what we usually do is we stop. You stop. The hard truth is, you don't have enough patience and you are not ready enough to face the hard truth about the process. The process is a roller coaster game. But in our lives, there are more downs than ups. And that's what most people are scared of. They quit or they give up. Next, new hobby or skill that you want to learn. Let's take for example, sketch or painting. If it takes you longer than you expected it to be, you give up. Right? Because that's what we commonly do. If it takes longer than we expected it to be, we tend to give up or we tend to quit. Not realizing that the process itself is even more important than the results. Why do we give up? Right? Why do they give up? Because we only want the results, but we are not willing to learn it. Not the willingness to learn it even if it takes years of practice. Next, your academics. Let's admit it. This is where all our stress goes, right? And most of the time we overthink. Overthink here, overthink there, overthink everywhere. And whenever we fail a subject or an exam, we tend to think negatively to ourselves. Because we think we are a failure. But even if it's harder than you think, don't give up. Why? Because the process is even more memorable, more meaningful, more important than the results. Next, your relationship. This is what I want to prioritize in this video. Relationships. Big word, right? What people usually think of relationship is easy. They'll commit, but can't sustain that commitment. Why? Because it gets tough. And when it gets tough, we tend to quit or we tend to give up. Not knowing, not realizing that the process itself is even more beautiful. That is why most relationships fail. Because we only want the results, but not the journey of it. Do you get me? Let's say for example, you just want to be happy with that person. But of course, life's not easy. Life is not like that. Relationship is not like that. There will be problems, challenges. But since you only want the results, you don't want the journey of it. You are not willing to accept the long-term waiting. And what else? The hard truth about relationship that it's also a roller coaster game. You'll commit, but you can't sustain that commitment. And that's the problem for us. Not just for teenagers, but to all of us. Last example, problems in your life. We tend to overthink, especially when things get rough. We tend to think that we can't handle it anymore. We see ourselves as weak. And we see our journey in life as long. That you are depressed, sad, or broken for so long and it makes you lose hope. You lose hope. You want to know why you lose hope? Because it takes you longer than you expected it to be. And because of that, you give up. You lose hope because you want the results already. And that is to be happy or to get out of that depression zone. Not knowing that the process is more important than the results. Because once you overcome your depression, you look back and you know what you will miss? Not the results, but the process itself. Once it happens, the thing that you will look back is not the results. The thing that you will look back is how strong you were in that process. Those hardships, those tears, those pain, the process is even more beautiful than the results. The process is even more memorable than the results. The process is even more heartfelt than the results. So whenever we do something in our lives, whenever you do something in your life, whether that's a business, a new hobby or skill that you want to learn, a new recipe that you want to learn, your academics, or your relationship, the most important thing is stop wanting only the results. Rather, start loving the process itself. So whenever you do or you deal with something, whether that's a business, a skill, problems in your life, but most importantly, having a relationship with someone, have the willingness to learn it, even if it takes years of practice, takes years of waiting, takes years of failing. Do you get what I mean? Because before you get those results, it will never be easy. Process will never be easy. That is why it is so important to love the process, to understand the process, and to have patience with whatever you are doing in life. But most importantly, with your relationship and with yourself. Now, are you this type of person who's wanting the results but doesn't have the willingness to learn it, to understand, to have patience, and to love the process? If so, stop now. Now, as I end this, I want you to reflect at this exact moment that you are watching me. In your relationship, are you really committed into this? Or you just want the results but doesn't have the willingness to accept the journey, to understand the journey, to have patience with their journey? Because what usually happens is we only want the results. You only want the results. So whenever a problem happens in your relationship, you always think of giving up. Most especially if it needs to have a long-term waiting. So are you really committed into this? Because if you are, you will love the process. You will understand the process. You are willing to learn in the process. That's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope you have learned something new. Make sure to share this with your friends so that they can also learn from what you have learned from this video. And please do remember that you can also download this episode on all my podcast platforms so you can listen to it wherever you want or whenever you want, even if you're jogging, walking the seat, driving, running, or whatever you're doing in life. So what are you waiting for? Hit the download button beside this episode on all my podcast platforms. The links are down below. And please do remember that this is also now available in Tagalog version. Para ito sa mga kabataang Pilipino natin dyan. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day. I love you. We are the universe, so beautiful.